asking me for money. I can't stand y'all even exist. Y'all is like so irritating. Like, why did y'all mama even leave y'all with me, bro? Call her, see what she has so I can drop y'all off. I'm tired of this, bro. I could not spend no full day with y'all. Kids is irritating, bro.
We haven't even lived with our mom for over a year.
So what? It don't matter. It's just y'all, it's the simple fact that y'all is around me. I told y'all mama not to bring y'all around me. I don't want nothing to do with y'all.
We didn't even say nothing. We just sitting back here.
So what? You just, come on now.
We're just sitting back here. What are you
irritating?
How? Because we're hungry?
I told your mama, do not bring y'all around me. And
Dad,
she want to steady pop up to my crib and drop y'all off.
Dad, it's 1 o'clock. We're hungry.
So what? That ain't got nothing to do with me. Call your mama. Stop asking me for money. You got no money for y'all. Only money for me. Okay?
Okay.
Like, what is wrong with y'all? Just please stop talking to my car.
Okay.
And call your mama, see if she has so I can drop y'all off. Or call y'all grandma so y'all can get out of my car. What you crying for? You should be crying to your mama.
We didn't even do nothing.
Don't cry to me, cry to your mama.
You
Your mama
didn't
dropped
even
you
do
off.
nothing, though. You're just yelling, but you always doing this. You act like you don't like us. You don't want us here.
I don't want y'all. I told y'all mama. I didn't want no kids. She still had the kids anyway, right? So that's on her. Don't cry to me, cry to her.
I don't know what happened. I wish I wasn't here. I wish I wasn't here.
What?
Now listen, we gonna get into this. The first thing I'm gonna say is I'm a skeptical guy. Typically when I see things like this, I think that they fake immediately. Like, you know, there has to be something authentic about me for me to think it's real. And what I think is authentic is, and I would have to do my research and my due diligence to find out if it's really fake or not. But making your kid, first off, a kid faking crying, I don't know anybody who would have their kids faking crying for clout, but sound like real cries. And I don't really know anybody who would have their kid cry for clout. I done seen all types of stuff on the internet. Like I seen a content scammer that I was going to expose at one point, but I just, whatever happened, it slipped my mind and I can't even remember who the person was. But enough of that. I'm going to take this at face value and say that it's real. I feel really bad for the children. I feel really bad for the children because they shouldn't have to deal with stuff like this. They should have a father who loves them. They should be dealing with somebody who has a best interest at heart as far as the person that they came out of. So there's going to be 2 rounds of accountability. We're going to start with the guy first. And this is the thing about me holding people accountable. When you look at the Lil Durk vid, I understand it was marketed as, you know, oh yeah, this all started because of a woman. And if you watch the video, you see what part she played in it. She really didn't do much, but I held her accountable for what she actually did that added fuel to the fire. But I held the guys even more accountable. Nobody cared about me holding the guys accountable. Everybody wanted to shoot the chick bail. So I say all that to say, I know y'all don't give a fuck about me holding men accountable. I know y'all don't, but it has to happen. So as far as a dad, the thing about this is it doesn't matter. We'll get to the, you know, if you wanted to have kids or not. It doesn't matter if you wanted to have kids or not. You had sex unprotected. These kids were conceived. They are your blood. Now, if a guy chooses to stay out of the picture, that's one thing. If that's an understanding that he and the woman had, that's one thing. Or even an understanding that he gave the woman, that's one thing. But whenever you encounter these kids or whenever you pick these kids up or anything like that, there should be no malicious energy or words spoken to the kids about their existence. These are people who are not just the fact that they're humans, not even just the fact that they came from you, but this is forming what type of human they will be when they go out into society. This is you are a tremendous part of their lives. And these are people who are going to go out and impact society. You as a man could be the difference between your daughter being a stripper who sets up dudes to get killed, or a female politician, or a housewife, or just anything. Like, you as a man are one of the core influences that are going to impact what her trajectory is. Same thing with your son. You know, if he turns out to be a Pookie and shooting people's cribs up and stuff like that, or if he actually ends up, just being lazy and not getting any jobs or anything like that, or if he gets a college degree, a doctorate, or if he starts multiple businesses, and becomes you play a huge part in how this person is going to grow up and impact society positively or negatively. Now, the thing about that is, I know, as far as somebody who would talk to their own kids like that, they don't care about what I'm saying. They only care about themselves. And that's why, and I don't really do this often, but you are not a man to me. The person in this video is not a man to me. Because when it comes down to it, I've talked about, in other videos, what a man is and stuff like that. And I've said, oh, it's just a biological male and stuff like that. I got to do an updated version of that video. But one of the things that men do is contribute to society. If men only cared about themselves, we would be in the dark ages still. If we didn't get together and create societies and build and do things that would benefit society or just the other people around us, and et cetera, even if it's for money, then we wouldn't have the society that we live in now. We wouldn't be on these smartphones or nothing like that. We wouldn't have the beds that we laying on. We wouldn't have the dressers. We wouldn't have none of that. Even then, you wouldn't have people like basketball coaches, like youth basketball coaches, who don't get paid shit. You wouldn't have people like that. You wouldn't have managers or whatever at your job who look out for you and try and warn you when certain stuff is about to happen. You wouldn't have people who help other people. You wouldn't have that if motherfuckers only cared about themselves. And if there's one thing you should care about, it is your seed. It is your seed. Now, the one thing that he said is, I told your mom not to have y'all. Guess what? She still had y'all, and that's where we at. He said something along those lines. And this is the thing, man. If you didn't want kids and you absolutely don't want to be in those kids' life, it is not hard to not be in those kids' life. Boy, some people do it so effortlessly, dog. Some people do it so effortlessly. They sign their rights away. Some of them don't even do that. They just pay child support and be like, I don't want to see them kids. Some people, the moms don't even hit them with child support, and they just never be in their kids' life. Like, you look at somebody like LeBron, this cat dad was never in his life. He was never in his life. So that's a whole nother thing. But if you don't want to be in your kid's life, you don't have to. The biggest issue I have with this is that, okay, to some degree, you were letting these kids be in your life and you were treating them like shit and you resent their existence. That makes you an absolutely horrible person. And see, this is one more thing that I got to get out. So fuck this guy. Let's just get that out the way. Fuck this guy. He's a piece of shit. But this is how come I don't be on that, oh, you got to fuck 50 women, you got to fuck 100 women and stuff like that. Because this is the thing, on some real shit. I don't know if y'all people be around these types of people. These people, first off, the belief that I have, just no matter, even if he's trying to have these kids, even if he's trying to be in a kid's lives, if you have a bunch of kids by one woman, you create a household to where it's like, all right, you got a lot going on in that household. I can't really have too much of an opinion on that because it's what I advocate for. One family household. One family household. The attention within that household that you'll be able to give the kids is going to be divided up. So I don't know if you'll be able to nurture them correctly as far as you and the mom. I don't know if that'll happen. And also, the kids are going to have to pick up some of the slack. They are going to have, like, once the older ones become of age, they're going to become somewhat parental figures. You know, so that's one of the flaws when it comes to having a lot of kids in one household. Now let's get to this more common issue, broken households. When you were doing the Nick Cannon and you were a man and you have 8 kids with 8 different baby moms, getting all of them at once is not going to be a common occurrence because all these chicks' schedules is not about to line up like that. And even then, you know, the bond is going to be built with their brothers and sisters like over a long, it's going to take much longer than if they were in the same household and things like that. And it's probably not even going to hit the same as if they were in the same household. I can't say from experience. But the main concern that I have is that I know how important a father is in a kid's life. I know this. You are not going to be able to give the proper amount of time and attention to each kid because your attention is going to be divided. You're not going to be able to communicate with all 8 kids every day. You're not going to be able to do that. And even then, if let's say that you do, you're not going to have significant time that you could spend with those kids every day because they're divided between 8 different households. And this is the other thing, because we was talking about Nick Cannon. Most of the dudes that be doing this shit ain't Nick Cannon. They don't got the money or the income to support all of these lives to the point, to the degree that they need to be, you know, supported. Now, when we get past that, we are going to go to the last thing, which is what I know to be the most common, which is when you see these guys who are fucking a bunch of chicks. I'm talking about 50, 100, 200 chicks and stuff like that, right? When you see these guys, it's inevitable, because a lot of guys don't like condoms at all. It's inevitable that they are going to have some kids that they didn't intend on having. They're going to have some kids that they didn't intend on having. We're going to get to the women in a moment, but these guys are irresponsible just with their own health by fucking all these chicks raw. How do you expect them to be responsible with these kids? And my point on this last point is, you will have a lot of guys who just don't be in the kid's life at all. And the reason that they don't be in a kid's life at all is because they be that 100-body man and they just be out here fucking. They never intended to have kids with these people, and they don't plan on being responsible for these kids, and they will express that they don't want these kids. And then we end up with situations like this. So when we talking about guys who fuck 100 chicks and stuff like that, or 300, whatever the number is, like dudes who be going crazy, I would like to say that most of them, or a good chunk of them, don't like condoms. But most importantly, they're the most common to end up in situations like this where they got a bunch of kids and stuff like that, and they don't want to raise them motherfuckers, man, because they never had any intentions of having kids with these women. They just looked at these women as some coochie. They looked at the kids as just a nut, the consequence of a nut that they don't really have to take care of. So that's why I don't encourage the whole, oh, you got to go and get 50 bodies. Yeah, you got to get some experience with women. Yeah, I recommend having some sex and stuff like that. But 50 bodies, like, all you're going to do, once you crack the code and you just like, oh, I got to get 50. If you really on some, I got to get 50, you not going to stop at 50. And even then, who knows what could happen in that 50. But even outside of that, when you end up in a situation like this, you're going to have some kids that you don't fucking want, that you didn't intend on having. And as far as you as a listener, it's up to you, you know, because like, let's say like right now you got 3 bodies or whatever. If you turn up and in the next 3 months get 50 bodies, you're going to be a whole different individual. You're going to be like, when it comes to your relations with women and stuff, like, you're going to be a different individual if you get 50 bodies in 3 months. Even if you get 50 bodies in a year, that's still a lot. Even if you get 50 bodies in a year and a half, that's still a lot. So who knows if you'll be willing to step up to the plate and raise them kids. So when it comes to the woman, she has to take a big chunk of the responsibility for this. And I'm going to tell you why. When it comes to having sex, that is a consensual deal. It takes two to tango. Both of them are having sex and stuff like that. But when it comes to having a baby, only one person's opinion matters. Only one person is in charge of that choice. Her body, her choice. This man said that he did not want to have kids. She insisted on having those kids by a man that she was more than likely just having sex with, an unplanned parenthood, but also he expressed to her that he did not want kids. Now, when she has the kids, I'm willing to say that she realizes she can't be with the kids 24/7. She realizes that, I just can't take care of the kids the whole time. She also realizes, hey, these kids actually need a dad. They need a father figure. Who better than the guy whose nuts that they came out of? But this is the issue. This guy told you that he didn't want to have the kids, but you still had them. And now you need him, and now you feel that the kids need him. You should have realized that when you was pregnant. You should have realized that the kids feel they need their dad. And he didn't even want these kids. Now you are trying to force the kids on the dad. And see, this is a big issue. This is a big issue because now, no matter how much accountability I lay on her or how much accountability I lay on him, the kids suffer. The kids suffer because of both of their poor decision making. And when you look at situations like this is why contraception is kind of a bad thing, because it put people in a position to where they could have sex and the guy probably thought abortion was an option. He thought a plan B was an option, and it wasn't an option in her mind. So it's like, just because it is an option, that doesn't mean that, it's an option that the person whose choice it is willing to explore. And even in some cases, some guys actually want the kid and she like, oh, hell nah. And she go and get the abortion and he's upset because he wanted the kids and stuff like that. But having that type of option creates these types of issues. And I think this is one of the bigger things when it comes to this and that type of culture and just, whatever, like all this hookup culture that was created out of the contraception and stuff like that. Women have failed to realize the gravity of having kids as far as the decision to have kids. Like, they have failed to realize how serious it is. And trying to get this right, especially in the Black community, because that is where the glorification of single motherhood happens the most and where it was birthed from. I feel like the whole, I can do bad all by myself. I could just shit. I'm a single woman. All my women that's independent, throw your hands up at me. Singlemom.com. All my women that's independent. Like, all of that shit comes from feminism to some degree, but it really is big within the Black community. So understanding that's how come we end up with a situation like this. But there's another reason as well. So women don't really understand how big of a decision this is because they see all the single mother glorification. They just think that they could do that. Nobody is telling them the truth that this shit is absolutely fucking hard, that it's going to change your whole life. And this is the other thing. Parenthood should be planned. You should make sure that you have the right mate. You both should be on the same page as far as, okay, we are now trying to have a baby. You both should want the kid. And you both, this is the most important. Everything else, that's cool. If you want to do that and not do this one, That's on you. But this last one is important. You both should be under the understanding that you are going to have a family, whether you're married or not, and that you are going to try and stick together through thick and thin. You are really going to try and make this work. You guys are going to be together, and you are going to raise the kids together, and you are going to stay in the same household. That's how things should work. But when you have this hookup culture where, okay, I'm attracted to the guy who gets bitches. As far as a woman, I'm attracted to the guy who gets bitches. He's slaying everybody and shit. I'm just savage out here right now. Why not get plowed by this dude? Why not? You know, shit, I done got plowed by 20 other guys. I done got plowed by 70 other guys. Why not just add another one to the list? Oh, shit, I'm pregnant. This is the first time somebody has squirted raw dick in me and I got pregnant. I think that this is, they all get like just spiritual. This is from the universe. The universe has given me kids. Like the chick who was trying to set up Fresh, she was on that same type of time. Fresh from Fresh and Fit. Like she just got religious all of a sudden. You're a whore. You're a whore. But listen, this decision could have ultimately been prevented had and I'm not gonna lie. Again, it takes two to tango. But we don't get a choice. We don't get a choice. As men, we don't get a choice. Remember, it's her body, her choice. So the majority of accountability in this situation, in my opinion, is going to fall on her shoulders because he let her know, I don't want kids. She decided in the first place to have sex with a guy without knowing if he wanted kids or not. And that's important because she has to hold the baby. She has to get the abortion. Remember, her body, her choice. So her going in and having sex with a guy that she didn't vet to see if he wanted kids or if he was good around kids or anything. He says he doesn't want the kids. She decides to have them anyway. Despite his, so she made the choice to bring these kids in the world. Not only that, now she is trying to force the kids on the guy who said he didn't want the kids. It is very irresponsible, in my opinion. It's very irresponsible. And I already went in depth about why and how he's a piece of shit. But the last thing I'm going to re-highlight, these dudes telling you, oh, man, you got to go out and get 50 bodies. That type of culture, that type of mindset where you just got to go out and fuck the most bitches and stuff like that, that is going to put you in a tizzy eventually. That is going to put all the, and listen, a lot of dudes just have that mentality. They've never sat down with somebody and said, man, I'm trying to fuck as many chicks as possible, or you need to fuck as many chicks as possible. It's just a culture. If you were a man, and listen, it might be a specific type of man. I don't know. But me as a man, and even as a boy, I've seen this my whole life. Like when we were kids, we would be on each other about getting bitches, getting babes, you know, even, and I'm in my mid-30s, and guess what? As a grown man around other single grown men, what is the conversation, man? What's up with the bitches? What you got going on with the bitches, man? I just pulled this bad bitch, all this, like, that is a thing. That is how we innately operate. I'm sure that that happens with all types of Americans, all types of Europeans. This happens in Brazil. This happens in fucking, Mexico. This happens in a lot of countries. I can't say if it happens in Japan or some shit like that because they got a whole different culture. But listen, that's just one of the things about being a man. One of the things about being a man is getting women. But on top of getting women, the culture that we have is not centered around finding a long-term mate. The only reason I look at things like that is because I grew up in a married household. And a lot of, you know, my uncles and stuff like that, they were married and stuff like that. My grandma was married, et cetera, et cetera. So I look at stuff like that and I'm like, yeah, this, and then I look at the people around me who come from broken households, and I'm talking about throughout the course, I'm talking about from elementary all the way to my 30s. And I look at certain things and it's like, okay, so that's, okay, yeah. When you do the math, you know, that's how come it works out bad for some people. But again, the culture, the general culture is, are you getting bitches? I'm getting bitches. You fucking them, right? Cause you can't be getting bitches and not fucking it. Okay, you fuck. Yeah, I'm fucking them too, man. So we getting bitches. And listen, I understand that desire is there. But the one thing I can understand as well is if you look at something like, you know, the caveman times and things like that, trials, at the end of the day, even in different, like, you know, primitive cultures, like guys take claim typically to one woman unless you were Genghis Khan and you were just running through everything. Now, that's not always true because you have Casanova types from like the 1500s who was just running through everything. And that's what he was on. So that is a part of being a man, and that's a part of different cultures and et cetera, et cetera. But the whole point is, you know, when we look at having a long-term relationship, whether it be through marriage, which we all know the divorce laws and shit like that is crazy, or just having a girlfriend and having a household, those are things that are not promoted the way that they used to be. If you look at the 90s, they had all these family sitcoms that come on one of the 5 to 20 channels that we get all through prime time. So when the whole family gets to sit down, what's on TV? A fucking family. What comes on after that? A fucking family. What comes on after that? A fucking family. Now, if you don't want to watch a family, you could go and watch Heat of the Night or some other shit. You know, it's going to be some other shit somewhere on one of the higher channels that are less watched. But when you sit down, they're promoting family. Yeah, it's not so much the case as much anymore. Because we're on Netflix now. So Netflix got a whole bunch of different shit. And they don't even try to shove too much shit down your throat. They look at what you like and they try to shove that down your throat because at the end of the day, which I know some of y'all hate when I say that shit, but fuck you. But what they are trying to do is keep you logged in. They have a different level of control now. They are trying to keep you watching. They're trying to keep you logged in. But let me bring it back full circle and wrap it up. But as far as that culture, the getting bitches culture and all that, like, ultimately is going to lead to broken households. That's what it is. So, again, I'm not perfect. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't consider myself a guru. I'm not selling you products. I'm not telling you to, like, just get on a no-fap and start drinking fruit juice smoothies and shit like that, because I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm just trying, like, I will occasionally give you advice. Occasionally. And even on a dating app joint, I had a dating app video and stuff. Like, I'm giving you methods to get bitches because that is the life I live. I'm not about to sit here and lie. I'm not about to get on here and lie, even though I just said all that shit. That's how I am. That's how I'm built. I'm a man at the end of the day. It is what it is. I'm not trying to run it up. I would, and even then, it's crazy because I actually look at in real life. I look at a lot of these chicks like it's tough because I don't look at most of them as cuffable. I don't look at most of them as relationship material. So it's really difficult out here. But, you know, when it comes down to that, I will give you some tips. I will give you some insight. I will give you some advice and things like that on occasion. But most of the time, I'm just giving my observations on things that I see. So I don't consider myself a guru. I'm not selling you a course or anything like that. I don't even have a Patreon right now, which is possible. I may have one in the future, but I don't ever plan on selling y'all a fucking course. I don't ever plan on doing that because this is the thing. And I'm gonna be real, man. A lot of dudes be trying to do money grabs, and I know I'm going all over the place, but a lot of these dudes be trying to do money grabs because they got the attention and stuff like that. These dudes don't even be exceptional for real. Like, you see FedEx Fearless going crazy right now, and videos all over the place. Fucking Think Before You Sleep or whatever did an exposure video on him, and a few other people like Marquette did an like everybody is doing exposure videos on the dude. But the one thing that I noticed as far as the exposure videos is, yeah, this cat, he got all these muscles and he's telling people how to dress, and I don't agree with a lot of it, but I'm gonna just keep it. You could just listen to how I talk. Like, I seen somebody on here, they said something like, oh man, I could tell you don't get a lot of attention from women and stuff like that. I didn't even try and validate myself and say, oh, I get plenty. Like, I just said it's hilarious because the chick was a stud. And I'm gonna tell you something. Like, when I look at FedEx Fearless talk to women, I know I talk to women better than him, and I don't have a course. I'm not on here telling y'all every day how to spit game. Bruh, when I talk to babes, it's electrifying. I'm trying to, like, on some real shit. Like, look, I know I got all over the place, but the whole point is a lot of these dudes don't even be qualified to sell you the shit that they selling you. That's it. Now let's bring it back full circle and end it. When it comes down to it, this culture creates broken homes. When it comes to the mom, she is irresponsible for having the kids by somebody that didn't want the kids and then pushing them back into his life or pushing them into his life. But the dad is ultimately a piece of shit for not raising the kids. I know I ran it and got a little crazy with this one, you know, but I just had to get my shit off, man. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I'm gone.